Hey there everyone, this is Maria Young and I thank you so much for tuning in to yet another garden adventure. Okay, so today I wanted to focus on yet another tropical plant. I wanted to really talk about the bromeliads and what the bromeliad is all about. Okay, one of the greatest things about bromeliads, of course, is the very tropical foliage that it has. And they come in all sorts of arrays of color. Even in the foliage, sometimes you'll find a little bit of yellow or red. This one in particular is a variegated kind, of course, the green and the white striping. And one thing that we have to understand about bromeliads, because if you don't understand its growth structure and the way that it grows and thrives, you definitely can very easily accidentally kill this plant. So yes, let us get a better understanding of how this plant works. Okay, so although this plant appears to have a root system, and can be very easily potted within a pot or even in your garden area. First, understand what looks to be root systems don't act or function as roots. They are only actually there to enable itself to attach onto something and then of course grow. Now, the way this plant feeds and gets its nourishment, again, is not from what appears to be the roots, but is actually fed from the center of the plant. Okay, that is where you would have to water and fertilize these plants. A lot of people will get bromeliads and think that, especially if it's in a pot, they think that they actually water at the base where the soil is. And folks, if you continue to do that and you don't feed it where it needs to be fed, what happens? You guys already know, this plant will die. So definitely understand that it will feed and receive its nourishment directly from the center of the plant. Now, what is commonly known from this plant, and what I believe is the most striking part of this plant, is actually when it decides to give its very unique, very awkward type of blossom, in which it will come from the center. Now, of course, depending on what type of bromeliad you have, will also determine exactly what type of blossoms that you will get as well. The blossoms come in such a variation of colors and shapes, and I mean, sometimes you will find them and they'll come out from the center and they'll actually give like a pineapple type of effect where you see a lot of bristles. And from that cluster or from that center of the actual blossom itself will come little sproutlets of blossoms of all sorts of different colors. Of course, they have the purples and the blues and the magentas and the yellows. I mean, just an assortment of colors of the miniature blossoms. And of course, sometimes the blossoms will actually come out in like a fan shape. And I also have one that actually comes out and will cascade down, and also have a deep magenta and also a very deep blue. So definitely that is the most striking part of this bromeliad plant, is when it decides to give its awesome display of blossoms. Now, the way that this plant can be propagated is after it gives off its blossom. Keep in mind that it will not blossom again. It'll only blossom but one time. And after it gives off its blossoms, what will happen is little babies will begin to form at the base. And as you can see here, these are all little babies that have come off of this one plant. And after it becomes big enough, of course, you can just simply take it off and replant it in another location. You could put it in a pot, you can put it right in soil, you can put it in a tree. I mean, again, the root system, it doesn't matter where you place it at, it just wants to attach itself, and it's not going to receive any of its nourishment, so the soil or the medium matter is not important. Of course, what is important is that it is being fed from the center again. And like I said, this was actually a baby. I only took one, and of course it began to flourish and provide other little babies. But I actually got this plant from this one right here, which is the mama. She is the queen bromeliad here. And if we look even closer down here, you will see a little baby growing, and she's actually big enough to take out and replant somewhere else if I wanted to. And if you look right here even, there's that little baby right here growing as well, and she'll be able to be split apart from Mama. Okay, and now we are in my backyard, and I definitely wanted to show you another type of bromeliad that I have. And as you can see, this bromeliad actually is throughout my tree, just growing like crazy. And what happened here, folks, is that I had a bromeliad in a basket, and I decided to just basically wedge that basket within this tree. And eventually, over time, what happened is the basket decayed and fell away, and of course, this remained. See that plastic? That was actually a lining in that basket, and it's actually contained all of its attachments, or what you would call, or what appears to be its root system, stayed intact there, and it just flourished within this tree right here. Now, as you can see, it's really, really intermingled within the bottom portion of this tree. And I wanted to go ahead and show you what the blossoms will kind of look like. And of course, this is not going to justify this when it first comes into bloom. This is actually a spent blossom, but when it is just coming into bloom, this has such a spectacular display of colors. This is actually like a deep magenta, almost fluorescent. I mean, very pretty color. And then, of course, it has a striking green and some yellows. And the blossom itself will show up as a deep blue, or almost like a fluorescent blue. I mean, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And then it has a type of, I don't know if you'd call it a sepal, or tiny, tiny petals that will actually kind of curl. I mean, definitely. I will show you one of these when it comes right into bloom, because it's an amazing display. The unfortunate thing about this is that, again, it is at the lower portion of my tree, so what happens is when this cascades down, you don't really even see it. I mean, it does not become a focal point to my garden. So I decided to do something with that, and I'll show you. So what I decided to do, folks, is I decided to go into my plant and basically find all of the little babies that are in here and get the ones that I could and actually put it in a pot. And before I show you that pot, I just wanted to show you something very, very cute, and I don't know if I can get in here, but I did find a nice little garden friend in here. Let's see. Sorry, folks. Get it in focus. There he is. Oh, such a cutie pie. Do you see him? Haha, it's a little, tiny little frog. Oh, so cute. Hey, little critter. Hey, little critter. So, actually, this bromeliad has become a home to some of my garden critters. Thought that was adorable. And also, folks, what gave me a little scare as I was going through here, I don't know if you can see him, but yeah, as I was going through here, oh my gosh, this little critter gave me quite a scare. Ah! But another frog, a fairly larger frog here. And look at him, he doesn't want to be disturbed. He's like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to cause massive destruction. Okay, folks, I'm going to leave him alone now. Bye-bye, little critter. Bye-bye. Okay, so what I decided to do is I went ahead and took little babies, and I went ahead and just potted them up in this hanging plant, or hanging planter. And as you can see, it's growing quite well. And this has been in here for, I want to say, maybe like 6 months now. And I'm hoping that soon it may give me a blossom. And what's going to happen now is it's going to have enough room to definitely cascade down. I'm going to put it right in my tree, just like so, in this hanging pot. And this will give it a chance to really cascade down. And it can become a focal point, and we indeed can enjoy the magnificent blossom that comes from this bromeliad. And another great thing that I wanted to show you guys, no, not the frog, but this blossom right here. That's about to come out of my bromeliad. So indeed, it is in bloom. And look here, here's another one. And look here, folks, we also have a couple growing over here as well. So definitely, this is about to come into full bloom. And these bromeliads are, of course, your tropical plants. So they like high humidity, of course, loving the 80s and the 90 degrees. But also keep in mind that they grow a lot of times underneath the canopy of the rainforest. So, of course, they also love areas that are shaded or partially shaded. Bright light is good as well, just as long as it's filtered sunlight and not direct sunlight, because much like the orchid species, if they have direct sunlight, you will find that a lot of times it will scorch and burn the foliage. Okay, and last but not least, I wanted to also focus on another bromelia that I have. This bromeliad right here is actually a full green bromeliad, and this is quite commonly seen in your garden centers. And this actually will bloom like a fan shape, very red flower, and of course it has purple little blossoms on it. So definitely, I had planted this right in my garden, and as you can see, there's little tiny babies also growing from the side of this plant. So of course this is a magnificent plant because they are also self-propagating plants, very easy to take care of. Well, I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another garden adventure where, of course, today we focused on the tropical plant of the bromeliad species. I thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to stay tuned and keep posted on these videos, because I always post my garden adventure, please be sure to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please be sure to post them as well, because as you guys know, I always love to hear from you guys. I thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and stay tuned for more.